Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 2021 Co-op Career Mode Season 5 of me, Dan, just on my own today. There's no Nick, and our graphics provided by our excellent providers, Matt Amos and Lon1138. As we come to round 9 today, round 9, we're now into the second half of the season, and we come to another fan favourite. It is, of course, Spa-Francorchamps. And the Belgian Grand Prix, of course, a track which has heralded many poor results for Justin Freshbot and Radiant Slothz over these past 4 seasons that we've had here. Several incidents leading to safety cars, others to terminal damage. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and comment down below what was your highlight of this Grand Prix, and maybe check out some of our other links in the description as well, Discord and Twitter and the like. As we get onto the starting grid, and George Russell and Pierre Gasly, the two sister teams, line up alongside each other, followed by Lando Norris, a new Williams driver, Justin Freshbot in the P4. Then we have the other Williams driver, Daniel Ricciardo, making his second return to the grid. He's alongside Lance Stroll. Back to Nicholas Latifi, the other AlphaTauri, and Antonio Giovinazzi in the second Aston Martin, Robert Schwartzman in the Alfa Romeo, and Yuki Tsunoda rounding out the top 10. Then it's back to the new Mercedes driver, Charles Leclerc. He's alongside former world champion Valtteri Bottas. Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez line up alongside each other as well. Behind them, Esteban Ocon and Radiant Slothz, the first Ferrari. And then we move back to the final few cars. It's Max Verstappen in the second Ferrari, Mick Schumacher in the Haas, Nikita Mazepin making his return to the back of the grid, and Guan Yu Zhou in the other McLaren. Let's get on with this race. The Belgian Grand Prix. Here we go. Justin Freshbot starting up in 4th place alongside new teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Radiant Slothz still quite far down the order, as we see Daniel Ricciardo making a very impressive start on his new teammate. That is an all-new Williams lineup, of course, for the Williams team. We jump back to Radiant Slothz, who's having a little trouble alongside Valtteri Bottas and Carlos Sainz. Two much faster cars he's somehow able to compete with. At least he's doing a much better job than his teammate Max Verstappen, as we see Justin Freshbot putting one along the outside of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. And unlike previous skirmishes that these two have had, no contact. As we jump back, Radiant Slothz runs wide at the end of the Kemmel Straight. He's dropping back from Valtteri Bottas, and we see Carlos Sainz shoots up the inside. Now Charles Leclerc is also having a look, as we see a massive lock-up from Radiant Slothz there. As they come down the hill towards Pouon, it's Leclerc on the outside. Radiant Slothz does defend just about. And it's going to carry on. Here we go, around Pouon, runs a little wide. And not surprising, the Mercedes, much faster, much better around corners, gets up the inside, no issues whatsoever. And now Nikita Mazepin, who returns from his sabbatical to Haas, sits behind him. This is on board at the start with Justin Freshbot. We'll see what exactly went wrong for him. We see that is Lando Norris cutting across in front of him, and Daniel Ricciardo, just a better start up the inside. Challenges Norris initially, as they go alongside each other up towards Eau Rouge. The Red Bull just pulls ahead of the Williams. And here we go with Radiant Slothz on board, starting much further back. He sends one to the inside and gets past multiple cars, although has to slow down on the apex. Slight bit of contact with Valtteri Bottas. And, a bit of contact again there, as Bottas tries to close the door, which would have been a pretty lethal end to Radiant Sloth's race, given that pit wall jutting out into the circuit. But anyway, here we go. Justin Freshbot on lap 2, coming back to the end of the Kemmel Straight. Both Red Bulls in front. Pierre Gasly running away. We got Justin Freshbot one's wide over the curb, rejoining the circuit. Oh, and Daniel Ricciardo! Daniel Ricciardo crashes into Justin Freshbot. We knew it was coming. Daniel Ricciardo with his second return to Formula One since the start of any of our seasons. Left McLaren, was a free agent, joined Mercedes, left them, became a free agent, now drives for Williams. Here it is. Crashes straight into the side of Justin Freshbot as he rejoins the circuit. We'll have to see from Ricciardo's perspective what exactly went wrong, and you see there he is. No, I believe that was in fact Ricardo's fault there. Justin Freshbot may have rejoined on the racing line, but Ricardo out for blood, as he usually is, against these human players. Because one of the last times we saw him, he crashed into Radiant Slothz in Brazil. And now holds up at least 10 cars here. Radiant Slothz at the back of this hold-up. The front wing, of course, causing issues for Ricardo up front. Can Radiant Slothz weave through the traffic? He's got some trouble from Ocon. He gets round the outside of Carlos Sainz, retakes that position. Thank you very much. As everyone's jostling around for position, he dives up the inside of Giovinazzi and Sonoda across the curb, bouncing around the bus stop. But unfortunately, the Aston Martin and the Mercedes, much better exit. As we see this absolute mess of cars, which hasn't quite split up yet from the start, just crowded around each other. And that is Yuki Tsunoda being overtaken. Because their new driver, Charles Leclerc, promoted back to a top team from Haas. Currently runs up in P7, just ahead. There he is. Just ahead of Robert Schwartzman, the worst driver ever recorded in Formula 1. Although he is running just about in the points. 3 wide there at the end of the Kemmel Straight. There goes Antonio Giovinazzi up the inside. And now Robert Schwartzman potentially making contact. But here we go. This is the onboard of Radiant Slothz. It's brake checked by the train ahead. Ricardo causing that. As we see, I think that's an Aston Martin nearly on the grass. It was. And Radiant Slothz on the grass as well. Still on the circuit technically. One wheel on the track. And everybody crowding around each other. Ricardo not blocked from getting into the pit lane, but not doing anyone any favours. Radiant Slothz gets loose. Loses a bit of time, and this is where we see the McLaren looking down the outside, but he doesn't go for it. Radiant Slothz instead up the inside of the Mercedes, across the curb, very aggressive, gets the position. Unfortunately, though, although running in the points, he is followed by the McLaren, which has improved significantly since the start of this season. Ferrari still being one of the worst teams out there, as per the performance of Max Verstappen right now. Bottas and Ricciardo, of course, pitted for new front wings. As Carlos Sainz gets past Radiant Slothz, gets into the points again. And, well, the Ferrari, once again, on its journey backwards.
Box, box, box.
As Justin Freshbot comes round to the bus stop chicane, he'll be coming into the pits for the first of the pit stops from the leaders. Gasly, Russell and Norris staying out there. Nicholas Latifi, unsurprisingly, 8 laps behind, which puts most of the bottom half of the field out of this race entirely. There are only 11 laps. Oh, he has just gained 2 laps, then another 2 laps. So, good job to him. Anyway, Williams into the pits. Tyres on, no damage, and he gets away. Carlos Sainz goes through there, and Radiant Slothz just about comes through. Oh, there they are. They are on pit exit. Radiant Slothz 6 laps down, of course. Follows his former teammate. Of course, they met each other at Williams 5 seasons ago now, and had a very mixed campaign between the two of them. Justin Freshbot weaves. Although it is futile, the Ferrari has no chance of overtaking and is already a pit stop down. They are not racing right now. But I'll definitely tell you who is racing. That is Carlos Sainz and Robert Schwartzman up ahead, holding up the Williams. This could cost him a small track extend there. Carlos Sainz defends the inside. Justin Freshbot dives up there and is lucky that Carlos Sainz did not want to come into the pits. Robert Schwartzman did, and now they drag race down the pit straight into turn 1. There should be no contest as the Williams tucks it up the inside on the slower tyre, but is at this point in the season the car on top performance-wise. It has maxed out its factory facilities, it's maxed out development. Small track extend once again for Justin Freshbot. But that Williams, as things stand at the moment, until everyone else catches up, is the car to beat. We're not going to see much from Ricciardo this time, unfortunately, given the circumstances with his crash on lap 2. But, well, you can see, just compared to the McLaren, although it does gain a little bit in the corners, I guess relatively, it is slightly closer. Fortunately, not significant enough to make a pass as we come back. The Radiant Slothz now, surely coming in for a pit stop soon. We're over halfway through the race, and he'll be wanting to get some tyres. Oh, he's had a massive accident. Clips the curb there. That's brought out a safety car because of where he is. Oh, nearly touched by some of those cars. He just about backs out of the way, I think, of that Haas. As we ride on board, what's happened there? Just clipped that outside curb. That is a deadly part of the circuit. There's the cars go flying past there. That would have been impact from Guan Yu Zhou.
Box.
Safety car comes out. Justin Freshport gets past a few cars in the pit lane. I think it was just Lance Stroll. Everyone else is currently up ahead. That's probably helped him after being held up by Schwartzman and co. earlier on in the race. And, well, he'll be looking out as well because he did spin at the same place as Radiant Slothz in the last race that we had here in Season 4. So he will be very wary. Front wing on for Radiant Slothz. He'll rejoin the back of the field. As we're on lap 9 of 11. Not at the restart just yet. We've got a big fire there. That is Carlos Sainz. That was one of the cars competing with Radiant Slothz. That is an engine failure, terminal damage. He is off of the circuit. And talking of damage, but there's a piece of front wing missing there from Radiant Slothz as the safety car confirmation is coming in. Appears on screen. And we'll see what can Justin Freshpot do. Oh, he gets a little loose on exit. That's cost him big time. Now Lance Stroll is going to have a quick look up the outside. What can the Williams do here against the Aston Martin? Stroll in a good position here. He's going to be right in the slipstream up Eau Rouge onto the Camel Straight. We've also got Charles Leclerc in there as well, who Justin Freshpot just moved from in Mercedes. And then the other Aston Martin realistically could challenge right now. They did have one of the best cars of the season at one point. Stroll looking up the inside. He backs out of it. Further back, Valtteri Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo duke it out. The final couple of points as we come back on board. Radiant Slothz, who's had a bit of trouble getting through the field. He is going around the outside of Schumacher up towards the bus stop. Touch on the grass, but no, clearly ahead. As Nicholas Latifi actually makes his first pit stop of the race. He's run the soft tyre since the start and for some reason has decided that now is the time to change it, costing the team vital points as we see Schumacher aggressive during that overtake. But Radiant Slothz is at least able to get past. The Ferrari, although it is the worst car on the grid, relative to the Haas, is still slightly better. And of course, Schumacher, not the best of drivers. Oh, Nikita Mazepin, sorry, not the best of drivers. This is Justin Freshpot coming around for the final corners into the bus stop. That is 4th place on his first outing for Williams. A good result for the team. Daniel Ricciardo also claws his way back into the points after a disgusting move against his team. Oh, there's been a massive hit into the wall there. That was a piece of end plate dropping off. As we see, Radiant Slothz is going to go one more time up the inside. No, wasn't quite able to get there, but he might sprint to the line. Tries to get past his teammate. No, that is it. That's it. P17 and P16 for Ferrari. Not a good result in the slightest. Pretty much where they started. Guan Yu Zhou gets driver of the day. Not entirely sure where he started or where he finished, to be quite honest. I mean, we're not really focusing on McLaren this season as, well, the familiar sight. It's not Red Bull, but it might as well be. Pierre Gasly with another win. Been with this team. This is his 5th season. Biding his time. These regulation changes. Shafting the rest of the field. Has put AlphaTauri in a really strong position for this championship. Both Red Bulls picking up the other spots on the podium. But even so, yeah, Gasly looking pretty unbeatable at this point. Can Red Bull develop the car quick enough to catch him? We'll have to find out. We've only got a few more races after this season, so stay tuned for the next Grand Prix, which should be in Italy. Should be a good one. Let's go to the race results. And there we have it. Those are the race results. Of course, we know our podium already. They were followed by Justin Freshbot, Lance Stroll, Charles Leclerc, Antonio Giovinazzi, Valtteri Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo, and Yuki Tsunoda. This is what the Drivers' Championship looks like. Of course, Pierre Gasly running away with the lead. He's followed by Antonio Giovinazzi and a close behind Lando Norris. And it's back to Nicholas Latifi and Lance Stroll in the Battle of Canada. The Stroll tied with Lewis Hamilton, the retired Lewis Hamilton. Then it's George Russell, Justin Freshbot, Yuki Tsunoda, and Valtteri Bottas rounding out the top 10. Over in the Constructors, of course, AlphaTauri pretty much nearing a win for the Constructors' Championship. They're followed by Aston Martin, closely behind Red Bull, then Mercedes, Williams, Alfa Romeo, McLaren, Ferrari and Haas on 13 points, and right at the back is Alpine on 2 points. That's all for today's race. We'll catch you in the next one.